Players do a great job of getting an easy ball and then really struggle to finish it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Hi guys, Sandy here. So many players really struggle to finish off the points from the net position, yet they get in a really good position, they force an easy ball, their opponents are out of court, and they just don't do a good enough job finishing those points. And especially when you go up the levels, it's something that's really important to be able to do. So today we're going to talk about how you can have a killer volley and how to finish the point from the net. Before we get into the tips for the killer volley, we are going to be celebrating our new partnership with SLAZENGER Padel and be giving away their premium epic model racket. Yeah, this is a fantastic racket for players of all levels, and we'll do a review later in the channel. But if you want to stand a chance to win this, just comment down below why you need a premium racket for your game, and make sure you're a subscriber and you like this video, because we will be choosing from there. This will be sponsored by Padel Corner, a new e-shop in the UK, and we will be working with them moving forward. But that is a fantastic place to go for any paddle kit that you will require. So when we're talking about a killer finishing volley, the idea of this in padel is so different to tennis. Obviously tennis, you just need to hit past your opponents. And when I first came to padel, this was a kind of learning curve for me, because I had good tennis volleys and I would come in and they would not be good enough to play against padel players. So this is something that I really needed to change, and you will need to change as well if you're from a tennis background, or if you just want to learn to hit better volleys in padel. It's about trying to finish that ball with the right amount of speed, spin and direction on that ball. Now, before you get that opportunity, you need to make sure that your opponents are out of position. Yeah, if your opponents are in good position, it's very difficult to hit a winning volley. Yeah, even if you get a really easy ball, it's not easy because they're in a good position to cut off the angles. So this is where you need a good setup ball, and you need to force your opponents into a difficult position and give yourself the space to hit that killer volley. So once you've put your opponents into space and you've created that gap, the next thing is recognizing your opponent's body position. Now this is so important, because if you're playing it against good players, or especially when you're going up the levels, you might hit a setup volley that you think is good and they're out of position, but they're good enough to hit a good reply still. And this is obviously at a beginner level, you can put a mediocre ball in the corner and they're going to struggle. But at a better level, you might have to hit 2, 3, 4 good setup balls before you see them in trouble scooping the ball out. And that's when you know that you can actually probably attack that next ball. And as soon as you see that, you want to move quickly, preparing with the racket and moving into a court position to cut that ball off. Because if you can move forward 1 or 2 steps to hit that volley, that's taking time away from your opponent. Yeah, that's time that they would use to recover. But if you're fast up to the ball, then they won't have that. So once you've created that space, you've got the easy ball, you've recognized it, you've taken a step forward to be aggressive, you need to decide how you're going to hit that ball. You can obviously, all this process is happening together. Yeah, you're making that decision as the ball's coming to you. And if the ball is a floating ball and it's the right opportunity, you then have the choice of either thinking, I'm going to slice down that ball and hit with a lot of spin to make the ball die off the back glass. Or if you notice that your opponent has their back against the glass, you could opt to play a flatter contact and therefore a faster ball off that back glass. This again depends on the level, this depends on where the other partner is. If they're both against the glass, you can hit a nice flat hard ball that will bounce off that glass and come quickly back. If you notice one is slipping into no man's land, the other is out of position, you might choose the slice because you want to keep that ball closer to that back glass, yeah, so there's more space at the back. So once you've decided the area you're going to go into, and also whether you're going to hit flat or slice, give yourself a bit of margin for error. Yeah, there's no point in hitting a ball 2 or 3 inches from the glass if you're going to miss that 60 or 70% of the time. Yeah, so when you're going into that gap, give yourself a nice margin, play within your capabilities, and therefore you will not make mistakes. The worst that will happen is that maybe you have to play an extra ball, and this is exactly where it comes in, where you can play your attacking slice killer volley and they have an even more defensive, weaker reply on that next one. Then you can come forward and either finish down off the net, and I'll link to a video up here of that video of how you can hit the ball down and out, but always go for a little bit of kind of margin for error when you're trying to finish the points like this. So a good way to practice this, you can practice this on your own. If you've got the court to yourself, maybe before you're going to play one of your social matches or the court's empty, Go onto the other side of the net. It's important you do that. If you do it from your own side of the net, you don't really get that feeling of the distance. And just practice kind of coming down the ball and trying to get spin on that ball to make it die off that back glass, yeah? And once you get that kind of feeling for the distance, how you brush down the ball, you can then kind of work that into your game a little bit more easily. So your objective this week is to try and bring it into your game and make it really obvious that this is your attacking shot. So instead of hitting all your volleys to try and finish, hit some soft ones in the corner, and then when you step up, it's obvious that that was your intention and that was your killer volley. On this side, I'm going to put a link to we've got a 5-tip volley video, which is completely free, and it goes through 5 steps to improving your volley. And then also on this side, I'm going to put a video about how you can kind of integrate slice into your volleys to hit better drop shots and to hit better winners.